One.
Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski, joined with Tim Pashot, continuing the conversation from our previous video from our main channel, continuing on with the economic news, which is just absolutely inundated right now with talks of a universal basic income and Donald Trump with the Treasury Secretary saying that everyone will get more than $1,000 within 2 weeks. Of course, there's been a lot of criticism of the kind of universal basic income, which this looks like it is. Tim, I want to discuss your effects of this and if there's even some shining light, since Americans are shopping, especially with Amazon. Amazon recently just discussed shutting down shipping for all non-essential items because Amazon, I have a friend that actually works in Amazon and they're telling me they're just inundated. They're raising prices so people don't buy stuff and people are still buying them. We're also going to be talking about price gouging, which is important. We're going to talk about that sanitizer guy that the media is hating. Meanwhile, they're working with Wall Street that are absolute bigger criminals and make him look like nothing compared to the actual activity happening on Wall Street right now. But the Dow is rallying 1,000 points. People are saying people are shopping. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to give everyone $1,000. Is that the case, Tim? Because I don't know. I usually don't believe in fairy tales and ponies and unicorns myself.
Well, as fate would have it, the Dow is actually up 666. So that's exactly another great sign for. I'm not even joking right now. It is literally up 666. Okay, now 537. So, but yeah, one of the things I want to point out is take a look at right here is a chart of the U.S. Federal income, and so what we have is it breaks it down by state, or breaks it down by corporate taxes, payroll taxes, and so you're taking a look at this. Basically, a little under $2 trillion, $1.9 trillion is how much the U.S. takes in income taxes. And when you take a look at all the measures that the Federal Reserve and Mnuchin and Trump and everybody else is doing, it's sort of the bigger question than UBI to me is why is there even income taxes to begin with? I mean, if the U.S. can or Federal Reserve, which is technically not the same thing, anyone that knows me knows that I know that. So what we have here is a system that is not meant to help people out. It's meant to control people. They don't need income taxes. They need to control people. They need to socially engineer people to do certain things that they want people to do. And so when you take a look at, okay, the Fed is what? They've had three $500 billion, I guess technically they weren't QE programs, three $500 billion repo, 3-month repo operations. That's 1.5 trillion right there, which is almost the amount of corporate income taxes we've taken. Or sorry, that's actually way more than corporate income taxes. That's almost as much as the individual income tax. Then we have there was another $700 billion QE program launched. So, okay, right now we're already up to $2.2 trillion. And then we've got the daily program. So, I mean, we're already basically approaching, especially once you count this, $800 billion, corporate business plan they've got going and all the QEs and all the repos and all the everything. It's probably going to add up to more than what we even collect from every income tax source combined. And so it sort of leads the question, if the Fed can just print money anyways, why is there even income tax? Well, I know why. It's a question I already know the answer to, which is because they want to be able to control people. So I think the better thing to help kickstart this economic engine is to just have no one pay any taxes because, I mean, we know taxation's theft.
Yeah. And like that doesn't matter, especially with the government going in debt every year, especially with Donald Trump increasing the debt. Like it doesn't matter. It's play money. It's make believe money anyway, right, Tim? It's like, if you're gonna give something, instead of just giving people something, stop taking it away from them, right? that would make more sense.
Well, it's easier to get more votes when half the country doesn't work and you can just give votes to certain group of people that they would rather have that. But Trump about a month ago said something along, maybe it was in January. Somebody asked him about the budget and he goes, "Budget? Who the hell cares about a budget? We've got a country now." Well, guess what? Right now we don't have a country and we don't have a budget. I mean, of course you have a country, but what is it? What is a country? I mean, America. The idea of America versus what America is today, obviously every single founder would be rolling in their grave. I don't want to speak for the founders. That's just, what I think personally.
But it's not just, when we look at the country, it's not just the federal government, the federal jurisdiction that's in debt. It's also local jurisdictions. It's cities, it's states indebted up to their head with money that they can never pay back. And the amount of debt, I mean, people say it's 23 trillion. It's actually a lot higher. So, again, I definitely agree with you. Instead of giving Americans $1,000, they should not be taking it away from other people, since, again, we're playing with make-believe zeros and ones on keyboards and computer screens that absolutely have no mathematical or rational common sense at all. So stop stealing. That would be best. And then the people who would be poor would have more of an opportunity to, of course, give them a freaking fishing rod in a sense, instead of giving them a fish, which is essentially what this is. And again, many people say that this is going to be the ushering in of socialism. I mean, we're long there, especially with corporate socialism, corporate welfare to the richest people in this country, not even in this country, multinational corporations that already get hand over fist all the aid and assistance that they're getting. So to me, this is definitely a big criticism of Donald Trump that I think more people should realize. And I think there should be more of a discussion about, but of course we won't be hearing this kind of discussion because Fox News is going to be cheering him on. CNN with their new Andrew Yang puppet are going to be like, yay, UBI. And it's all backwards in my opinion. But how do you see things moving forward, especially with, again, the numbers of coronavirus increasing, even without testing being done in major swamps of this country? The numbers are about to skyrocket. It's only going to get worse here. Financially, they're pulling out all the stops. Will it be enough? Will it work? What's your assessment on it, Tim?
I mean, they've pulled out all the traditional stops that they used to use, and let's also remember that less than a year ago, they came out, Jerome Powell being they, came out and said that the quote untraditional methods of basically getting the financial system back together should now be viewed as being conventional. So these are the reason what they want to do is they want to go to negative interest rates, because as you alluded to, the real debt, it isn't 23 trillion. That 23 trillion doesn't include Social Security, doesn't include Medicare, which is a bigger unfunded liability than that, doesn't include any of these wars, doesn't include all the different healthcare expenditures that go on, doesn't include, so let's say you've got a man-made or natural disaster, you got an earthquake, and let's say the earthquake causes $500 billion of damage. That $500 billion doesn't count towards the debt or the deficit numbers either. And so it's sort of like saying, hey, you know what? Everything is going great with me financially if you don't count my mortgage, my student loans, my car payment, my food and energy, my kids' schooling. If you don't count all that, I'm doing great. And that's basically what the government does. It's just a ridiculous notion. I mean, I am a financial planner, so like my job is to then sit with people and let them know how they can hit their retirement goals. And so if I were to act as if in the same manner as the government, I mean, everybody would be okay because we just don't count everything. Except even when you don't count that stuff, we're still screwed even by those numbers. So what I expect, you were just talking about and I think this is a good analogy, you were talking about the corona cases and how in the US they're going to start exploding. I think we've only just seen the beginning of what's going to happen with both UBI and with all the drastic measures the Fed's taking. So if you're taking a look at everything the Fed's doing right now, okay, $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, $500 billion here, just throwing around money like it's going out of style. And I think that's going to continue. And I think we're going to see $5 trillion programs, $10 trillion programs, $20 trillion, and we're going to hit that hockey stick type graph. They're worried about this climate change hockey stick graph. That's going to be the last thing they worried about when all this economic stuff goes down. And this is a big deal. I was talking to my dad this about 2 months ago, and so he was saying, oh, you're always talking about this economic stuff and it going down, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, why do you care so much? And I go, I care so much because there are people that are going to be dying because of what goes on economically. This is not hyperbole. There are people in Venezuela right now that have to pimp out their 15-year-old daughters so that way they can eat. This is major. Now, I don't want to have that happen to my daughters. I don't want to have that happen to your daughters, your granddaughters, your kids. And maybe it doesn't happen for another 20 years. Maybe it doesn't happen for another 50 years. Well, I don't want it to ever happen. And so that's one of the reasons why I've had such a fire under me ever since I found out the Federal Reserve is private, because this is a gigantic screw job that we're living on. I don't even necessarily think it's a big conspiracy by Jerome Powell and the people running the Fed right now. They're just puppets in this machine doing the role that they've been told to do. And Donald Trump, I said from day one when he got in there that if he did 1,000 things I wanted him, let's say there's 1,000 things I want him to do, and he does 999 of them. But the one thing he doesn't do is help use his position to change as in the bully pulpit to then change people's perception on the Fed. Because what he's done is he's gotten a lot of people to hate the Fed, and people are texting me all the time, especially when he was out there criticizing Jerome Powell early on. He's criticizing them for all the wrong reasons. Back in 2016, he was saying that, in quote, the Fed is doing political things. They're trying to help out Hillary. They're trying to help out Obama. They're keeping rates low. And now he's complaining about the same thing. I mean, he is right that, he's in a rock and a hard place. This was episode 1 of my podcast. So if you guys want more financial information, I do have a Tim Picciott, the Liberty Advisor podcast, where it's got, tons of information. Basically, it started the week Trump got into office. And it's just, unfortunately, the worst thing I thought he could do was wrap himself in the stock market. And I said they're going to pull the rug from him before he gets out. And so whether this was man-made, coronavirus type thing or not, whether it was deliberate or not, the rug has been pulled out. Their media is trying to exacerbate whatever is going on to help get more people in panic, to help, basically get to the situation where we're in. It's not helping anybody out. And so to answer your question, I think that these moves by the Fed, we're going to start seeing them get even more and more. And so it's like an alcoholic that right now that we've been absolutely wasted. And excuse my language right now, but this is a direct quote from Richard Fisher, the former, what was he?
No cursing.
It's not cursing, but this is a quote from Richard Fisher, the former Dallas head Fed. I was trying to think, I'm like over here, like trying to think of what the guy's, what position he was at. So he was on CNBC. I know I've used this clip before in some of my other videos where he said, right now we have been given the economy heroin and cocaine, and now we've taken that away and we're trying to maintain it on Ritalin. This was about 3 years ago, I think, when he said this. So you can search Richard Fisher, Dallas Fed. It's in there. He was talking on CNBC. Well, guess what? The Ritalin wasn't enough. We're back up to even more heroin, cocaine, using their words, not mine. And so maybe now we're going to kick it up to fentanyl. But guess what? Maybe now, and then I heard apparently there's things even stronger than fentanyl. I guess there's something called like car bomb fentanyl or something like that. And so that's something where if you even touch a drop of this, you could die. It's like 1,000 times what fentanyl is. So that's where the Fed's going. They're going to start putting fentanyl into this market, and you're either going to die because because we can't have the withdrawals of getting off of that, or we're going to die because we're going to overdose having too much fentanyl. Either way, it's a bad position to be in. Either way, you and I and a lot of other contrarians and Austrian economists out there trying to stop this stuff, but there is no way to stop it. There is no easy button to press. I'm not trying to be alarmist. Yeah, I mean that's all I got right now, Luke. Because it's just almost too much to keep up with at this point.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm looking at the headlines. I could talk about a million other things that are happening right now. Finally, the Treasury Secretary is saying that this is going to be worse than 9/11 with the airline industry. He previously said that there's going to be no recession at all. I mean,
2 days ago.
The drug analogy is perfect. Sorry, you were saying something?
So 2 days ago, he was saying that there's no sign of recession. 2 days ago.
No recession. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Same with Donald Trump. I'm like, come on. Let's be real with people. The more honest conversations that we could have with the people in charge, the more people could prepare, the more we could safeguard ourselves, the more we could actually make sure people don't get screwed and hurt. And I know so much chaos happening right now with people holding on to false hope. But also another point I wanted to make really quick before I jump into that is that there are a lot of people on Wall Street and also a lot of politicians that do a lot of drugs. A lot of drug abuse, so perfect drug analogy. But again, because
that's why they're on $100 bills in Manhattan too. So.
I have a friend right now who literally right before going on, she's texting me, freaking out. She was exposed to a person who has confirmed tested coronavirus. She slept in the same bed as this woman. And I told her, please quarantine, don't do it. She didn't do it, but she's at work right now, and her boss was told about the situation, and he's running a real estate company, and he's like, no, we need you to hear, we need you to keep working. And I'm like, they don't understand. There's a lot of businesses who are pressuring their workers to work right now that have been exposed to this virus because they think somehow things are going to be back to normal soon. They're not. They're not at all. You look at the government, they're panicking, they're confusing, they have different talking points. People are uselessly taking risks because they're not told the whole truth and nothing but the truth about this situation. And more people are being hurt, more people are being injured, and more people are being made sick about this virus. And as you said, it's not only the virus that's going to hurt them, it's going to be the larger economic ramifications that are absolutely insane. There's a line that's going to have to be drawn in our next videos. Tomorrow that we're going to be talking about that line and when exactly that line will collapse and when it will be enough of this phony money, magic, fairy tale, unicorn, bull crap that we exist right now. But one thing is clear. I picked a perfect time to partner up with you, Tim Pichot. Sorry, I keep butchering your name.
I thought you said no swearing on here, so the world's going to Pichot, but no, Pichot.
So I picked a perfect time to partner with you. You have your own kind of side thing going on. You got your own also YouTube channel. I got my main YouTube channel, but perfect time to partner up with you, especially in this kind of financial meltdown of our century. So anything else you want to say before we close it off here, Tim?
No, we didn't know that the world was when we decided, hey, let's just do it on Monday. We didn't realize that the world would be going to crap on that day. I mean, not only the world going to crap, but no one's got any more toilet paper left. So, but this is what an exciting time to start this. Just we'll be looking back on this time years from now, and
people want toilet paper more than they want Bitcoin. Who would have thought?
Well, pretty soon, I saw somebody comment that pretty soon we'll know we're in trouble when they start pricing Bitcoin in toilet paper rolls. So
yeah, absolutely crazy. Thank you, Tim, for joining me. Thank you, amazing people, for joining us as well. Stay tuned for more videos every single day here on the Change the News channel. Thank you again. Stay tuned for more.